Shooting it raw?
Yes. Shooting it raw. Cliff Beach is in the house. I love it. Okay. Wait a second. Okay. So this image. So that's where it is. You drank the Kool-Aid, to use a phrase that is not even that all that accurate. Okay, so it's so it's a photo of a certificate. Tony Robbins, Unleash the Power Within. Hey, Cliff Beach, Tony Robbins' signature. It's a certificate image that, yes, you've unleashed the power within. And here you are. Okay. Are we really going to plug Tony Robbins? We're going to get him to sponsor your episode. How's that?
That'd be awesome. You know, I know that people have like a love-hate relationship with people in that kind of status, but
wait, I'm going to interrupt you now because I do it all the time. What I'm going to interrupt you with is I am like you. I know because I've been there. So don't worry about it. We're speaking the same language. So Tony Robbins, that whole thing, I'm there with you. Keep going.
Yeah, but I was going to say for me, because it's interesting. It's like what I love about these photos is like, it sounds like, wow, I'm patting myself on the back. It has nothing to do with that. The beauty of that photo, one, it's just an amazing experience. To push yourself to higher limits, you just have to do it. But for me, the backstory of that, why it's so significant, is that I had a friend who went through a heavy trauma during the pandemic and lost someone very close to them to suicide. And I was just there for them. I listened to them, and we had standing meetings every 2 weeks, where we just checked in, like, how are you doing? And anyway, so he ended up, because I would share a lot of Tony Robbins with him and we did a lot of the free challenges, he ended up gifting to me to go to Unleash the Power with him, because he said that I had helped him so much. Out of the kindness of my heart, I did it because I would do it for anybody. But it meant something to him, and that meant a lot to me, because I feel like it's cliche, but it's like the secret to living is giving. But it's like, as I get older, it's like I want it to be less about me. Like, I do these things that are cool to show other people that you can do it too. And I want everyone to be able to live their best life, because I didn't always have that. I didn't always have dreams and aspirations and know how to put plans and goals together and learn how to manage myself. I say manage myself because people think you manage time, but that's ridiculous. Time manages itself, and it marches on. You manage yourself in relation to time. That's different. But I love Tony. I've been reading his books since I was a kid, which is odd because a lot of kids don't do that. My mom says I listen to nothing but AM radio and people who, talk AM radio like that as a kid. I was very serious as a kid. I was like,
well, those are your podcasts.
Right. Yeah. It's like, because I think I learned early on, and with whole Side Hustle and Flow was about, it's like, why does one person's life amazing? Like, why have they curated this amazing life? Other people's life is just okay. It's like, I mean, to wake up out of the bed and be basic, it's like anybody. That just takes no effort. Like, why would I get out of bed for that? It's like, I want to be better than that. Not because I want to lord it over people, but it's like, you do exercises because you become stronger to prove that you could do it to yourself. And you want to look in the mirror every day and be like, I'm moving the needle a little bit more forward. So Tony pushed us to do that. I broke a board for the first time, which I had never done. I did not do the fire walking because it was virtual and I have carpet, and that would be a disaster. But yeah, it was like, it's super intense. It's super immersive. They get decades into days, and you're up and you're doing stupid stuff that makes you uncomfortable, and you're talking to people you don't know, and it's like, it's nice to be just in a place where it's like, after years of being that weirdo, everyone's weird and you're just normal, and it's like everyone's just trying to be better and learn and realizing like we don't know it all. And yeah, this person is making a lot of money and pitching you a lot of stuff, but it's worth it, because every time I've gone to his stuff for free or read his books for free or bought them or whatever, I've learned something that changed my life, and that's worth something. And the investment in yourself can never be bad.
Yes, and yes. Now, so I've read his books. I haven't done any of his seminars. I've done other seminars like this thing called the Landmark Forum and whatever. And then, and so it's really funny that when people say to me, like, because originally people are kind of suspicious, right? Like, okay, what's the scam? What's the score? There's always that suspicion, right? And then how I've said it is like, yeah, imagine it's brainwashing that leaves you empowered, more optimistic, more positive about the future. So yeah, they call it brainwashing. And yes, they have their commercial needs and commercial wants and mission to keep growing and make money and all that stuff. That's fine. But that's how they sustain giving their seminars. But yeah, like, why not give yourself a sort of a separate, a side hustle where you're inspiring yourself to be bigger than who you really are, right? How is that a bad thing? And I unleash the power within. I mean, it makes for a very dull conversation to sit with somebody who's got no energy, who isn't radiating, if you want to use Tony Robbins' word, like power, right? It's kind of dull to sit with somebody who's just like a wet noodle. You're no wet noodle.
Yeah, and it's like just learning how you talk to yourself or how you talk to other, like the power of your words, the impeccability of your words, following through on your word. We have a trust society, and it breaks when people don't follow through. and you let yourself down when you don't follow through, when you give up on yourself. And it's like to look at someone who came from nothing, who came from trauma, but they turn that into good. It's like you look at oysters. Oysters create pearls. I always want to say clowns, but I'm pretty sure it's oysters. Oysters create pearls, but they create them because of an irritation. The sand that gets in their throat or wherever they have, they just keep rubbing it, and a pearl is formed. They create this beauty from something that's painful. And that's the metaphor for life. And so, at least the power within just says, what you already knew. It's like the Wizard of Oz. You had the ruby slippers and could go home anytime. You had the power inside you all the time. But you don't tap into it. You don't have an awareness that you had it. But we're all born with what we need to survive. And now we need to push from survive to thrive. That's why someone's life is amazing and someone is just okay.
Now, living in Los Angeles, which is so I live in Hong Kong, which is a pretty tough city. You live in Los Angeles, trying to make a living, trying to make a life. And I know that there's the LA that is, that's in the media LA, which has, which is one image, right? And then it's sort of like Las Vegas, right? People have this idea of what Las Vegas is, but, Las Vegas has really good university. Las Vegas has really great, outside of the strip, has a whole universe unto itself. So, so why don't you talk about how you converted your training, right? Be it with these self-help seminars, how you converted that into action that either created obviously artistic expression, writing a book, but how else does that manifest?
That's a great question. I think, when you talk about Hollywood and it being smoke and mirrors and different than it really is, that's what it's made to do. And so, there's a lot of places that are like that. I call Side Hustle and Flow the Hollywood shuffle, that you can shuffle anywhere. I think, coming from the music world, one of the big disappointments with education is that what they don't tell you in school as a musician or an artist is that you are an entrepreneur. You're a solopreneur. You are 100%. Forced to understand business. And if you're just only focusing on art and you don't know where the marriage of art and commerce is and your role in that, that's not good. And so when you look at Side Hustle and Flow from a business perspective, you're thinking about your life as you would if you were investing, as a hedge fund manager. You diversify your portfolio and you hedge your bets. So it's like if I'm getting only one income stream or only using one talent, even within music, it's like I have a radio show, I've worked in TV, I've licensed music for film and TV and commercials, and I've written songs and I produce songs and I produced other people and I've run a label and a publishing company. It's like your dream expands beyond what you thought 20 years ago. I thought I was a singer and a keyboard player. I didn't think about any of these other things. But I kept saying yes when the opportunities came, and I kept preparing in the shadows for opportunities to come. So when they fell in my lap, I was ready. And so I think that's the beauty of what I cultivated, is like School is great and education is great and it's expensive, so just know that. But there's so much education outside of the classroom
Sure.
that you can get. And ultimately, what you need to learn is a methodology to continue to learn.
Yep.
But the classroom doesn't teach you that. The classroom actually teaches you the opposite effect. You go to school, you party, you have a great time, and it's social, and it's awesome. But they teach you a fallacy in life that you can cram. You cannot cram life. Mm-hmm. And so if you just study to pass a test, that's not true learning. That's not true development. And so the farmer cannot cram. You can't plant a seed and then pick up a tomato the next day. That doesn't work. It's unnatural. And so you have to learn that delayed gratification is in there and some good things are going to take time.
Yes, I agree. But I think school does teach you a different thing, right? Like I think one of the lessons you learn in about cramming, for example, is to be very pragmatic of doing what you can do in the sort of, in the shortened time that you have to just tick the box, right? And it's not, I mean, are you really learning anything outside of that main lesson of how to tick the box and move on to the next accomplishment? Maybe not. Mm-hmm. And look, I believe like what you're saying is that life is a continuous learning, right? You should always be learning and soaking things up.
You should. And I agree with you too. I'm not saying that there's never a point in your life where you have to cram or make a decision quickly. It's more of, you can't have all microwave meals. That would be disgusting after a certain amount of time. So not everything can be quick. Something is beautiful by taking the time that it takes. Mm-hmm. You can make an album in a month, you can make an album in a year, and they are different. And there's reasons to do that. There are industries that create fast products and longer products. And they all fit. But again, you have that diverse portfolio. So as long as you have a mix, if you're cramming 25% of the time and you're doing other deeper things, it's just knowing that you're not going to get all your learning from the classroom. You're not going to get all your fulfillment from work. And you need to figure out where else can I get sources of truth and information and happiness and whatever I need. You're not going to get everything from one relationship. Even if you're married to that person or whatever, that's a death sentence. To just try to squeeze this person like a sponge for everything. You need other people. Yep. You need other people of other backgrounds. It can't just be one thing. So I think that's the main thing, is like, that's what you're curating. It's like, how do I have all of these friendships and relationships and sources to draw upon, and knowing that there are other sources that I don't know. There's 7 billion people in the world. Have I met them all? No. What can I do to get out there more?
Well, I think one of the things you can do is talk to me, and then at this point, I guess we can shift on to your last photo. So, is life really a gift? Really? Can you make every second count? That's the whole point of the podcast. So, if you like what you've seen and you're inspired, because that really is my mission, then please give it a like, subscribe, and share.
Shooting it raw?
Yes. Shooting it raw.